So this is the 1 month in the year when we are out letting everybody know about domestic violence. And, domestic violence goes on year-round, but now's the time that we make a special effort to let the public know how they can help, let them know about Empowerhouse, let them know about the services, and statistically kind of what we see in this area. And we have a number of events that we bring to the community this month.
Before we get into the events, domestic violence, unfortunately, continues to increase in this area, where we're no different than the national statistics.
We're no different. It's 1 in 4 women will experience severe physical violence at the hands of an intimate partner in her lifetime. That's a national statistic. Every 5 days, a Virginian is killed because of domestic violence, and that has not changed. And the age group most at risk is age 17 to 24. So we're really talking about trying to get to young people so that they can have some idea of what the definition of domestic violence, what it looks like, how to spot it, and hopefully have some peers that say, no way, this is not the behavior, and also to spot it if they need to kind of negotiate their way through and out of and away from those kinds of behaviors.
And that's important to have someone say, no way, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, so, there's great opportunities for kids to learn how to influence peers. There's safe ways to do that. We are in our area public schools and other schools. As you know, we serve Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania, King George, Caroline, and Stafford. And so every school district has us come in and talk to 9th and 10th graders particularly. We also go into the middle schools. So if they can learn what domestic violence is like, and surprisingly, perhaps for some, it's very connected to the same kind of behaviors that bullying uses. And so, this month we're able to partner with a group that is bringing awareness to bullying, and we'll kind of piggyback on their event to bring awareness to domestic violence.
And Susan Sigmon, that's why you're here to talk about what's happening this Saturday at the Towne Center.
That's correct, yes. So Saturday at noon at Spotsylvania Towne Center Mall, we are hosting our 26th annual domestic violence awareness event. We've changed the format a little bit. It used to be a vigil, and this year it's going to be more of a public outreach awareness event.
What's going to happen on Saturday?
So Saturday, we're going to have guest speakers. We have speakers from our Commonwealth's Attorney's Office in Spotsylvania County. Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office is sending a detective over to talk about the impact of domestic violence that they're seeing from a law enforcement perspective. We have a survivor speaker, Teresa Ross, is coming, and is going to share her story with what she has experienced through a family member that had unfortunately been murdered at the hands of their partner. And then we're going to have some activities for children. We have fingernail painting from part of the Put a Nail in It campaign, where you paint a fingernail purple. Yeah. The Chick-fil-A cow is going to be present and be wearing a big purple bow, which purple is the color affiliated with Domestic Violence Month. And so we have some other children's activities. We have music. We have 2 or 3 different musical performances that are going to be going on. So it's going to be a real good opportunity for people to get out and to honor people who have experienced domestic violence, but also to acknowledge that it exists. It's here in our community, like Kathy said, 1 in 4. And so it's a real good opportunity to make people aware of our services also. We have some giveaways that we're going to be giving out. The Shine a Light theme, actually, we have some flashlights that we're going to be giving out and incorporate that into the program format. So we're really excited. Well,
and Susan, what seems like is exciting about this is there's information out there, and it's presented in a way, it's non-confrontational, but you hope that people will hear it, and if they're in a situation or know of someone, it gives them some knowledge, some information, some knowledge.
Absolutely. Domestic violence is an uncomfortable subject. It's difficult to talk about. It's intense. We know it has significant impacts on the people who experience it, the children in those homes, families, and friends that are affiliated. So we're taking a very uncomfortable subject and we're trying to make it a little more comfortable for the public at large to acknowledge that this happens in our community. It happens to our neighbors and our family members, and to know that there's a place and an agency there that makes it more approachable, that you can come and you can talk to someone. There is an advocate that's going to be on the other end of that 24-hour hotline or at the office, so that we can start kind of closing the gap on the hidden darkness of domestic violence and truly bring a light to what's happening in our families and in our neighborhoods.
Kathy Anderson, the hotline number that Susan just mentioned, there are a couple of numbers that people around here should be aware of.
Right. So our hotline number has the 540 area code, and it's 373-9373. If I were going to give you the 1-800 number, I'd have to look it up in our brochure. But our website is empowerhouseva.org, and everything's available there. But 373-93, excuse me, 373-9373 is the way to reach. And it's not just a hotline for emergencies; it's also to obtain information. 24 hours.
Susan, this event on Saturday starts at noon at the Town Center?
It's correct. It starts at noon. The Town Center Mall is, they have an event that's going on at the same time in regards to Kindness Saturday, and so their event is from 11 to 2, and so our event is at noon, so it's kind of in the middle of all that. So we're going to be located at the Center Court area, right across from Kay's Jewelers, and we'll have a stage set up, and that's where we'll have the speakers and the music, and pretty easy to find because we're going to be right there in Center Court at noon. Yes.
Now you hope that even just people passerbys that aren't even maybe didn't even think of it, and all of a sudden hear something and it triggers something.
Absolutely, absolutely. We think this is a beautiful opportunity for outreach and to make people aware of Empower House and the services that are there, because you just don't know. Again, sometimes this is a issue that's talked about openly and publicly a lot, and so I think the more that we are able to put some awareness out there, the better off we are in reaching and offering services to people who might not know about us.
People still don't know that Empower House exists, and so when we used to be called Rappahannock Council on Domestic Violence, people didn't know we existed. Now that we're called Empower House, which is an easier name to say and get connected to, more people know that we exist. But if the people suffering from domestic violence don't have that information, that there's a resource, sometimes we're hearing years later, I didn't know you existed when I was going through it. We want people to know. We want people to be able to tell their friends and family members about the free and confidential services. I also just want to mention that on October 23rd, there is an event downtown called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. Lisa Dario is bringing that to the community again this year, only this year during Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October. And that's a Sunday. It starts at the commuter lot, walks a mile through downtown, and ends up at the old Silk Mill. And, I'd like to say come out and register, but she already has almost 300 walkers registered, and that is our capacity. So it is phenomenal, the response that she has received, and the event benefits Empower House. And we're so excited. We just had our golf tournament and raised awareness and funds. It was our 8th annual golf tournament. Now we'll have the Shine a Light on Domestic Violence, which is a new take on what has been historically the Candlelight Vigil. And I'm very excited where Susan has brought it to the mall. And now we will, after that, it'll be Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. So it's a good month. A lot of smaller activities happening at University of Mary Washington, so the students know about those activities at Germanna, and several other places.
Well, and it's you mentioned a lot of people don't know about you, and that's why it's important. Even if I'm not in a situation, or this isn't an issue in my life, to know a little bit about what Empower House can do. Because those statistics mean I'm working or I'm with somebody, around somebody that does. And there may be some point where I hear a story or, something's confided in me that I can say, hey, I know where you can get some help.
People can save a life. It's a lifeline to be able to know about Empower House and call our hotline, 373-9373. And I didn't mention the statistic that in this area there's over 6,400, sometimes 6,500 law enforcement calls annually for domestic violence just in this area. So however folks can know that services are available, that they can make a phone call, that they can just find out, what's available, be thinking, kind of come up with a strategy of how they might address this in their lives, because no one wants the abuse, but trying to figure out what to do next can be very daunting and isolating. So calling the hotline is a great way to get more information.